Hello, I'm Eject1, and welcome back to the Survival Let's Play series. And in today's video, let's see. We are going to be doing a terraforming project in a moment. But first I want to show you something. Now I was going to work on this, and I will, but I'm still waiting for the glass to finish smelting. But this will be a display case for armor stands. And let's see, I think I have about 5 right now. And so this would be sort of an armory. And we put some of these in here, and I'm missing one. But you kind of get the idea. Then eventually I'll put glass here. In fact, let me see if my glass is done. Hello, Mr. Enderman. And the glass is actually done. Okay, cool. Now I'll just come over here. Now I'll cover this up for now. And that sort of creates a display case so I could show off all my armors eventually over time. But yeah, we have that. But now, okay, let me go get the bed, or the spare bed. But yeah, so this is just the display area, and then I'll add some other stuff here over time. Like I would like to add an automatic armor dispenser so I could just step on it and get suited up. But I have also made a new entrance to the base. There is still the entrance right there, but I figured this would be much faster, so I could just go straight from the crafting room out. Because going from there to there is a little bit of a struggle, a little bit of a pain, so I decided to make it a little bit easier. And ooh, got that. But anyways, in today's episode, we are going to be doing terraforming. And I'm probably going to be trying to give you guys some tips and give a little bit of my advice on terraforming. So yeah. And as you can see in between episodes, I have been working on landscaping this entire area. This actually used to be a hole right here. And yeah. So I guess I'll explain while I dig out stuff. So let's see. So the first step is, well, what is terraforming? So terraforming is a form of, so essentially in Minecraft, you have land that, I mean, it looks nice as far as Minecraft, but it's not really that great in terms of like realism, or sometimes the land just doesn't look right. And so we terraform it. Now, what is terraforming? Terraforming is essentially landscaping. You're essentially taking the way the land looks and you're changing it. Why is it called terraforming instead of landscaping? I don't know, but that's just the term. So that's tip number 1. Let's think. These will be in no particular order. Let's see. So what is a tip for terraforming I can give? How about filling in holes? So what I mean by that is, and I can actually show this. Let me just get over here. Now, there was a hole over here at one point. It's still there, but you can't see it because it's covered up by the land. And so you would have a hole like this, like really big, and it's really, I mean, it looks really cool. It's, it's Minecrafty, but if we're trying to go for realism here, there's not just a big gaping hole in the ground, unless that's what you're trying to go for. So what we do is we take a bunch of grass blocks and we cover that up. And eventually I'll get to that. Probably not in today's episode, though. But, yeah. So we start with that. And I think, actually, I wanted to terraform this area. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing, yeah, so that would be tip number 2, or yeah, that is tip number 2. Tip number 3. I didn't really script these out or plan these out, but I'm just going on the fly here. Let's see. Tip number 3 would be, get plenty of torches down, because if you're going to be building at night, I believe that's a terraforming tip. And it's just a general tip, but, yeah. But I would say tip number 3 is when you're terraforming to try to make the land look as natural as possible. And the way you want to do that. Now, of course, I would say make it natural to what you're going for. So if you're trying to go for something that's like medieval or fantasy, then, you know, definitely go for that. But yeah, if you're trying to go for something medieval, then, you know, definitely go for that instead. Or if you're going for something that's fantasy, you're not real, or, you know, something that's not a real terrain, then go with that. But if you're gonna do something that's realistic, well, I would say, you know, look at the kind of lands that you want to accommodate from. Yeah, I would say look at the lands that you want to replicate. So, you know, if you like the Netherlands and you like giant hills and stuff, you know, try to figure out how you can create hills, but also find a way to make it look natural. And that brings me on to my next point, which is when you're terraforming, you don't want to work against. In some cases, like when I mentioned with the holes earlier, you do want to cover up holes because you know, you wouldn't really find that in real life. So what I would do is, but in other terms, like let's say this river here, you don't want to necessarily go against the land, or you don't want to. In most cases, you don't really want to go against the natural generation of Minecraft. Like, you really want to work with it. So, like, if there's like a river or a lake or a plains or so, instead of trying to like work against it or try to cover up, unless you're trying to do a build, you know, try to work with the land. You know, try to make it. You know, try to work with what's actually there, and you'll get a much better result than if you try to cover it up simply. But hopefully that made sense. Yes, like if I had this river here and I was to terraform it, maybe we will in the future, I would design it so it's like, oh, it looks more like a river. It's more natural flowing than the way it looks right now. So, yeah, hopefully that made sense. And I know terraforming can seem a little bit finicky, a little bit terrifying, but a lot of it's just visual. You know, what looks good to you. You know what looks good to you. You know, if it's, you know, it's not really a set way of doing it, I guess, but yeah, it's not really a set way of doing it. But again, I would say just try to go with what looks natural, or try to make it look nice. And if you're not sure what to do with that, it's like, I would say, like, go on Google and look at the countries of what you want to replicate, or what kind of land formations you could replicate. So yeah, I think that just circles back on that tip. Another tip I can give you is actually, so something I have not seen, and it does require a little bit of work, but it is something that if you were to apply it to Minecraft's generation, I personally think it would elevate the look of your lands. And I do plan on doing this at some point. I just have to find moss blocks. But if you look at this, you can see how it goes from green to brown to green. Well, if you're going for a natural hill, you wouldn't see this brown. So what I would do is, if you can get some moss block, so you either need to get moss block or you can get green wool, even though moss block is more natural. So I would prefer that. But you basically just take the edge of, like, say, this hill, and you just line that with up with moss. And what it does is it blends in a lot better, makes it look a lot more green. That way you don't have these awkward cuts in land of brown. I mean, it works for Minecraft. But again, it's something that works for Minecraft, but when you're trying to go for something that looks realistic, then the moss will kind of blend the green with the green and hide the brown. So, yeah. Let's see. What's another terraforming tip? Let's see. I would definitely say make sure you have enough tools of whatever you're going to need. So pickaxes and shovels. So as you can see in my inventory, I have at least 3. There was 5, but I've already burned through them. I mean, I am using stone tools, so you know, obviously the higher durability, the better things are, but yeah. But yeah, I think that's I think that would be the tips. I'm trying to think if I have any more. Let's see. Let's see. I think another tip I could give, or another suggestion, would be to, I guess it has to deal with when you're trying to terraform around builds, or when you're trying to terraform for a build. And I think it kind of answers that question already by saying that, which is, well, you know, how do you terraform around a build that's already there, or how do you how do you terraform around a building or a build that's already there, or how do you terraform for a build? And my suggestion would be, if you're going to try and terraform if you're going to try and terraform for a build, you can do that, but it is a lot harder. So I would suggest is either you build the build first, or you at least lay out an outline of where, you want that build to go. So, for example, like, let's say, I'm just going to make this up. This isn't actually going to happen, but let's say I want to build some kind of, castle that's, like, way up there, and then I want to have, like, a hill or mountain that goes way down there. Well, what I would do, well, let's say I don't really want to start the castle yet, but I know how I want it to go. You would want to lay out the plans, like, just lay out the floor plan, and then basically cover all that with grass, and basically do the mount, because then you know how big the thing is going to be. Because I would say, like, my thing would be, like, to build around, to terraform around the build. You can build around the terraform, but I would say it's a little bit harder, maybe. Especially if you don't know exactly what you're going to build or how you're going to build it. Yeah, I mean, again, it's subjective. All these tips are subjective. Like, you can do what you want, but do what works for you. Maybe you got some tips you like to share for terraforming, or any building tips. Definitely share in the comments. It'll help me grow as a builder. I mean, I'm pretty advanced. This stuff is not a very shining example of that, but I am a pretty advanced builder. But even I'm still learning. So, yeah. But if you guys do have any, but if it's not to help me out, it might help someone else out. So, yeah, definitely, add and share some tips in the comments of my videos. And, if it helps me out, and also because if it helps me out, or if it's something that's a really cool thing I didn't know about, that does get you a chance into getting entered into the Garden of Treden, which is right over there. Which I did do, like, a massive terraforming thing, and I just filled in a bunch of grass. But, yeah. Another tip I can give for terraforming, I don't know if this applies to Java, but this is just my experience. If you're going to build an area that's separately dirt. So like if I were to take this and leave this block floating here. Now this block here, I'm pretty sure would always remain dirt. I could be wrong, but from my experience, these will always remain dirt until you connect it up to grass. And it might take some time, but it will turn into a grass block. So if you're going to do a separate area that has grass, or that has dirt, but you want to turn to grass for, like, say, so for example, my sheep farm or my wool farm area, that has grass that I had to string up to the room up there so the dirt that's there could turn to grass. So that is one way to look at it. So that would be another tip right there. What else? Let me think. Let's see. Trying to think of what would be a good tip. While I move all these out of the way. Oh, yeah, I got another one. Okay, so in terraforming, this is a mistake that I see a lot of people make, and this is a mistake that I see a lot of people make, and this is and I know people don't do it on purpose, but you kind of do it without realizing. But when you are terraforming, and when you are making paths, so like the path I'm making right now, what winds up happening is a lot of times people make paths that aren't actually natural. So what I mean by that is that the paths are interesting. Now, of course, if you're doing like a build like a city or medieval thing, or where you have a bunch of builds or things you have to go around, that's fine. But if you have a big open area like what I'm doing, where it's like this, I would say my biggest tip for that is to make a path that is, I would say to make paths that are natural. So like, and what I mean by that is like, oh, they don't look, not that they look natural to the land, but they look natural to when players go across. So for example, to me, this is the most natural path for me to take to get from here to the spawn area, or to go from here to, yeah. So it just feels like a very natural thing. And even this path, for example, isn't very natural because it goes straight, and it's like, for me, so for example, this is a bad idea, where this is going to go straight here, and then it goes, even though my natural path, the player path, tells me to go from here straight up to there. So it's kind of thinking like that. You want your paths to fit naturally. Like, where are people actually walking? Because if you're going to make a path and no one's going to use it, well, then it makes it pointless. So that would be my tip on pathing. But just make the paths where they feel natural, like for a player to go down. And I would say if you're playing in survival, I know a lot of people just kind of, like, mine's a little more organized. People just kind of throw stuff together. But if you're going to, I would say, like, okay, if you're playing in a world, think of, like, how you go to your, like, how do you get to the forest that you're cutting down for trees? How do you get to that naturally? What is because more often than not, you're just going to take the same exact route every single time, so you make a path out of that, right? So that would be my tip for that. Anything else about terraforming? Well, I know it's a long and tedious process. As you can see, we spent basically the whole episode tearing out this little hill while I talked about terraforming. And that shovel broke. Nice. But I do think there are tips that are helpful, and if you want to do terraforming yourself, you could definitely do that. Sorry if you guys aren't in terraforming, but yeah, I figured this episode would be something that can help people out. And you know, if you guys want to see more tips on how to do things, or, you know, if you can, yeah, if you guys want to see more tips on how to build things, then, you know, definitely definitely let me know down in the comments and be like, hey, you know, yeah, I want to see I want to see some tips on placing stairs, or I want to see some tips on, like, okay, how do you build buildings, or, you know, how do you build a city or so, which I'm probably going to do the city one anyways. Yeah, which I'm probably going to do the city one anyways, because I am probably going to do a city at some point. Sneak peek for future content. But yeah, that's, yeah, that would be basically my tips on terraforming. Yeah, like, you know, if there's, like, tips you guys want, yeah, like, if you guys have any tips that you want to, share, you know, definitely leave them in the comments, and, you know, if it helps me out, or if I find it a really useful tip that even I didn't know, you know, that's a really good chance of getting added to the Garden of Treeden, which, if you don't know what that is it's basically right over there, but it's basically you get your name put on a tree, but, you know, if I see a comment that I like that stands out, or if someone sends a piece of artwork to my Twitter, or, you know, someone does something really nice that I notice that's, like, you know, like, don't just comment, oh, add me to the Garden of Treeden. That's not how it works. You know, like, add some you know, if the comment is, like, you know, constructive, or it helps me or other players out, or, you know, just something that stands out to me, I will add it, you know, which I really want people to start commenting stuff, because I want that to get bigger, because I've only got, like, 2 trees so far. But, yeah. But I think that is going to be it for today, guys. I know it's probably maybe it's a little boring episode, because I'm just tearing this out while I talk to you about terraforming. But, yeah, I mean, and the thing is with terraforming, I guess my last tip then, my exiting tip, is, you know, terraforming, you can see this is taking me about 20 million shovels, and I've got a bunch of dirt. But as you can probably tell, you know, terraforming is not a fast process, and, you know, that's okay. You know, my tip with that would be just to, you know, enjoy the journey. You know, it's, you know, you'll get there someday. It might take a while. Definitely, I would suggest getting stronger tools than what I'm using, because, you know, I'm using stone, which runs out fairly quickly. Definitely get a beacon, because that'll speed up things. But yeah, but yeah, the terraform takes time, even with all those more powerful tools. So, you know, just take your time and relax and enjoy the journey. And, you know, work on its sections. You know, you have to do it all at once. As you see, I've been doing this in sections all day. But, yeah, guys, I hope you guys found these tips really useful, and I will probably continue to terraform out the rest of this world off camera. And, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. It does mean a lot to me. It definitely does help out the channel, and at the time of this recording, we are currently sitting at 70 subscribers. I think we mentioned that already. Did I? Only if I did. Yeah, we are sitting at currently 70 subscribers, or 71, 72 subscribers, I think, which is absolutely insane to say, you know, and I'm really happy with that. You know, keep up the good work, guys. You know, like, because I really want to get to the 100 subscribers, because I want to do a special. I really want to do something where it's like, I really want to do something that's special. But, yeah, guys, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you know, be sure to like and subscribe, and, this Eject1, and until my next video, guys, this Eject1, and you have been ejected. Oh, let me eat this cake. Yes, I have a new outro. I'm trying. Yeah, this Eject1. Yeah, but if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe, and until my next video, guys, you have been ejected.